2 months ago, 23 million views, 24 million views. Only 6 mil on this one, only 4.4 mil on this one. Is he actually starting to fall off? Is it actually happening? The latest 2 MrBeast videos didn't do nearly as well as the 2 before that. Well, the 3 before that, and before that, he was getting a lot more views on average. I don't know. Maybe it is happening a little bit. If he does fall off completely, it's going to be a very slow decline, but maybe it is actually happening. Maybe the squeaky clean reputation side of MrBeast, maybe that being affected has made him less of a beloved guy. It's possible. It's definitely possible. So apparently Gamer from Mars did a 3.5 hour video about MrBeast. 3.5 hours. It might be worth it to go through this and just like go through because it's like every MrBeast controversy basically, right? I was planning on doing this video, but if he made it, I may as well just watch it, right? I think it'd be fun to revisit all of it, no? It'd probably be fun. Gamer from Mars, true, dude.
Lies.
Chris is the tip of the iceberg.
Abuse.
To MrBeast, who's under fire, the wildly popular YouTuber's production company is being sued by contestants on his new reality competition.
Scamming.
I had to talk him back on it. I was like, listen, we're not promoting gambling.
MrBeast has been on the internet for over a decade, becoming the first YouTube billionaire. But as time has gone on, he has become entrenched in more and more accusations of wrongdoing. The problem is there is so much information to wade through, most don't know where to start. Which is why today I'll be providing a definitive breakdown of every single MrBeast controversy. Around 2017, MrBeast's channel was truly on the rise, raking in millions of new viewers and subscribers as his stunts became bigger and bigger. He was quickly becoming one of the most talked about YouTubers on the platform, as younger users flocked to his videos to see what ludicrous amounts of money he would give away next. Of course, with such an explosive rise to prominence, there would be some who wanted to take him down in any way they could. On May 24th, 2018, a journalist by the name of Taylor Lorenz wrote an article for The Atlantic titled, "YouTube's Biggest Philanthropist Has a History of Homophobic Comments." In it, she detailed Jimmy's semi-frequent use of...
So we're going... Okay. This isn't even just the recent stuff. We're going back to 2018. MrBeast has gone viral for giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars. But he's previously used slurs and made offensive jokes. I like the phrasing of this as if because like he may have helped these people. He may have given away hundreds of thousands of dollars. But he said the F slur. He said the F slur in 2016. So I think that we need to reconsider if this charity is real. Don't make me defend MrBeast, okay? Don't make me do this, Taylor Lorenz. There's no reason to make me do this. This is like this guy saved a homeless woman from dying. Okay, he saved a homeless woman from getting hit by a car. But about 5 years ago, did you know that he jaywalked?
The word gay as a derogatory term on Twitter, as well as other instances of him saying perceived homophobic slurs even just a year prior.
Perceived. Look, if MrBeast said that, okay, imagine if Dogpack was tweeting about him and MrBeast said that. Would you not support him? Come on. Imagine if, we're all asking for a response. Imagine if he just responded to like Dogpack's video in the comment section with that. I think we would forgive. Forgive and forget. That's what I say. Forgive and forget.
Lorenz seemed to make the argument that MrBeast's family-friendly image was actually just a facade hiding a monster. On top of that, people also dug through his old uploads and discovered more questionable material. In a video titled, "I Sexually Identify as an Attack Helicopter," Jimmy and his longtime friend Chris Tyson riffed on the meme that was popular at the time of claiming one's gender to be a piece of military machinery.
I sexually identify as an attack helicopter. Ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of soaring over the oil fields, dropping...
Oh my god. Chris? This isn't the Chris I know. This is not the Chris I know at all. Chris went woke, it appears. It appears that Chris went completely woke, okay? Because, he was on board with the attack helicopter memes back then. And now, Chris is freaking... Chris went woke. DEI got to Chris, okay?
Hot, sticky loads on disgusting foreigners.
It's time to...
Did he say hot, sticky loads on foreigner? Whoa, I didn't remember that part. Wow, that's a good point. Thank you. I think Chris may have been why Donald Trump won the election, actually. It's nice, it's nice to see Chris going full chud, as we all know.
To live my dream.
While most recognize these as edgy jokes that were being made by countless other teenagers of this era, others insisted that this was proof MrBeast was a homophobe and a transphobe. When asked for comment on Lorenz's article, Jimmy had this to say. I'm not offensive toward anyone. I'm not offensive in the slightest bit in anything I do. I'm just going to ignore it. I don't think anyone cares about this stuff. The rising YouTube star then went through and wiped away all of the offending content from his social media accounts.
The annoying thing about shit like this, with like these Taylor Lorenz articles, is unironically, I feel like a lot of the criticisms about MrBeast may have come out beforehand, may have been a talking point that people would have listened to. But by doing this kind of shit, you poison the well of the conversation with meaningless crap that literally is nothing. And then it makes it so that any criticism of MrBeast is seen as retarded, right? Like it's honestly the same thing that happens with a lot of public figures. We just talked about this with Ludwig, right? So like with Ludwig making that lie about Logan Paul, whether he knew it was a lie or not, right? Like talking about totally retarded shit that is not real or doesn't matter on your massive platform. When you do stuff like that, not only is it bad because you're being disingenuous and like the shit you're talking about doesn't matter, but it also delegitimizes actual arguments made about that person, because in the future people will just write it off as, oh, well, that criticism's dumb. Any criticism against that guy is dumb. You guys are just hating. I'll be honest, as a gay person, I don't think using gay or the F slur as a joke makes you a homophobe. Well, you better rethink that position, sweetie. The top comment on this video says YouTube is suppressing it because it's about MrBeast. I noticed that YouTube stopped pushing the MrBeast drama videos once they started getting pumped out. The poor initial view count in this documentary proves that it's still going on. This is retarded. It's okay. There are MrBeast drama videos with millions of views, with 5, 6, 7, 8 million views. Do you genuinely believe that YouTube is censoring the criticism of MrBeast? You realize they make a lot of money from that shit, right? You think they're censoring the criticism? No, people just didn't want to watch the video. It's a 3-hour video, which is not what he typically does. Anytime I post a really long video, on drop, it usually is like a 10 out of 10, meaning it's like the worst performing video out of my last 10. But after a few days, it picks up because at first people don't want to watch a 3-hour video, but those that do and enjoy it and watch the whole thing, give it a lot of watch time and support it. Like this, dude, the conspiratorial shit is so fucking retarded. People got fucking bored. Why does this have 1,000? Dude, I'm sorry. This having 1,000 likes to me makes me lose so much faith in the average person's intelligence.
However, this would not be the only evidence used to paint the MrBeast team as bigoted.
Chris. I knew Chris, great guy, really was, made videos, the best on the internet. Unfortunately, he got a little too close to the Baden crime family. He got roped up in some gnarly stuff. Heard he owned a poster, nasty stuff. That's what they're saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's what they're saying.
In 2021, Chris Tyson's old tweets from around the same era as Jimmy's controversial posts began circulating as well. These statements included examples of alleged racism and transphobia, as well as several comments critical of the Islamic.
Oh my god, Def Noodles. Def Noodles is talking about this, dude. Shout out to Def Noodles, okay? Def Noodles back in the day was the number one disingenuous clip chimping individual out there, all right? Shout out to Def Noodles. You are missed, okay? People just aren't disingenuous the way you are now, all right? I miss you, buddy.
Islamic religion, and even a video of Chris saying the N-word.
What? He said back in like 2008 or 2009. It's going viral.
Chris would also quickly delete these tweets and post a twit longer apology for what he said, claiming that he had, quote, a lot of hate for himself at the time he wrote those statements.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about my past insensitive tweets. I want to address some things that have been brought to light from my past and apologize. I won't make excuses because I'm completely responsible for my actions and words. I want to start off by saying that the person I was when I was making these edgy jokes and tweets years ago is not the person I am today. During that time in my life, I had a lot of hate for myself that I let flow out through my humor and opinions. As I matured, I realized that edgy jokes can do so much hurt to people. Growing up in the South, I picked up so many views and opinions that I now strongly disagree with, and have since re-educated myself on. I've been reading all your responses, DMs, and videos, and I want you to know that I've learned from this, and I'm going to keep using my platform to try and help people and spread messages of acceptance and love. I will continue to reflect on this and try my best to make a positive impact on the world as much as I can.
The internet as a whole soon forgot about the ordeal as the MrBeast team stopped commenting on it publicly and simply chose to move on. While this event is mostly forgotten about today, it does show one of the earliest examples of the MrBeast facade starting to tear. In the early days of the MrBeast channel, Jimmy was not exactly posting the high-effort spectacles he is known for today. Back then, he mainly stuck to voiceover commentary over Call of Duty footage. His main strategy for growth at the time was collaborating with other rising stars. On May 31st, 2014, he uploaded a video titled 5 YouTubers I Think Will Be Famous. While most of the channels Jimmy mentioned did not go on to achieve much notoriety, one name should stand out to modern-day listeners:
At number 2, I have Sneeko, and if you've ever seen Sneeko's videos, you realize that they're kind of addicting. Once you start watching them, it's kind of hard to stop.
Yes, just as Jimmy was on the rise, so too was the now infamous creator known as Sneeko.
It really is a small world, man. It really is a small world. How interesting is it to think that MrBeast got his start, and he's talked about this on Jay Schlatt's channel. He got his start wanting to be a Call of Duty commentary guy, and he literally did that, right? He literally did that. He was a part of the commentary community. He was like on the Hot Wet Soup podcast. He was like, you know, buddies with Leon Lush and people like that. And then slowly over time, you know, he became the biggest channel in the world. And Sneeko, who was also in that community, I mean, he did get famous. He went on to become, you know, one of the, I'd say, most popular people on YouTube for a little bit. Well, maybe not one of the most popular people on YouTube, one of the most talked about people on YouTube. You know, he was, I'd say, probably one of the most unpopular people on YouTube ultimately, but he got pretty big. For a bit there, he did. I mean, his main channel was doing really well. When he was streaming, he was getting crazy numbers. Like, it was pretty impressive.
The two were both making videos in the Call of Duty commentary genre, and thus became aware of each other very quickly. They interacted in comment sections and shared a friendly rivalry as they continually passed one another in subscribers. But this all changed when MrBeast's growth skyrocketed around 2018, launching him into a new stage of his career. But this was not the end of Jimmy and Sneeko's relationship. Admiring Jimmy's success on YouTube, Sneeko decided to join his team in order to learn more about how to make a name for himself on the platform. He appeared in a video uploaded in June 2018 titled, "I built a working car using only Legos." Despite his goal to use Jimmy's rapidly expanding audience to build his own fan base though, this would be Sneeko's one and only appearance on the MrBeast channel, as he quietly left not long afterward. The online commentator would go on to elaborate on the details of his exit a few years later in a video titled, "The Most Important Lesson I Learned Working for MrBeast."
This is a track record with Sneeko, by the way. Like, this is a consistent thing. He would collab with someone, it would do well, and afterwards he would shit talk them. He did this with Keemstar too, right? And this is back when he was a kid. Keemstar wanted someone to do voiceover in a video. Sneeko was like, yeah, I'll do it. Keemstar didn't like it, so he didn't put it in the video. And Sneeko then posted like an exposed video shitting on fucking Keemstar. This was like years and years ago. But then he did it again with MrBeast later on. That was a pattern of behavior. But then he apologized for it to MrBeast. But then he came back out and said that MrBeast was evil the whole time more recently because of the Chris Tyson stuff. It was like, he's just constantly flip-flopping on what he thinks will get him the most views in the current time period. He will backstab fucking anyone. Despite, even if you benefit him, he will backstab you instantly as soon as he thinks you're useless to him.
In it, he explained that he and Jimmy did not see eye to eye on the philosophy of video creation. While MrBeast wanted to study the algorithm to create the most viral videos possible, Sneeko claimed he preferred to focus on only the things that interested him, even if they appealed to a smaller audience. But according to him, he had not left willingly, as he had been let go by the channel's management shortly after the Lego car video. Jimmy himself has not said much about Sneeko in the years that followed. Seemingly, he would prefer to keep their two brands separate, as Sneeko has become more and more infamous as the years have progressed. While this is not necessarily a controversy per se, there have been some who criticize Jimmy for ever interacting with Sneeko at all, as even in the early videos he stated opinions on social and political topics that some found objectionable.
Well, yeah, but like, it wasn't even close to where he is now. Like, back then he was like, saying edgy things is funny, haha, comedians are cool. Like, in modern day, he's like, there should be no age of consent, right? Like, obviously these are very different things. He was just like a typical, like, kind of normie kind of edgy back then. Hey, Turkathy Thomas, hope you're doing well. Do you think MrBeast will ever actually address anything? Or do you think he'll always use proxies and lawyers? I mean, he might address it eventually. I think he's probably, if I had to guess, if he's going to respond at all, I think he's probably waiting to see if there's more stuff that comes out and then he'll respond, or he's just trying to wait to see if it blows over, obviously, right? I think that's probably it, but it's hard for me to tell exactly what he's going to do, you know? Obviously, I don't have the inner workings of the MrBeast channel, but if I had to guess just based on, like, you know, deductively reasoning what would be the most beneficial for him, he'll probably not say anything for a while. Is MrBeast stepping down as CEO? He stepped down as CEO like a while ago. He did a while ago. He hired a law firm to investigate. Well, I mean, yeah, but yes, but he already talked about that. Yes, true. But what Henning is asking is, will he respond outside of the lawyers and proxies? You see the schizo tweets of Tobuscus? What did he say? I mean, is that schizo? Moment for him, I guess. Definitely a moment for him. Shout out Toby. Toby Games.
But he would not be the only MrBeast team member to get fired, and others in his position would not go out so quietly. Matt Turner was an editor that MrBeast hired in the mid-2010s. He remained with the team for some time before parting ways with them a few years later. At the time, it seemed like it had been an amicable split. Matt would go on to post a video to his personal YouTube channel titled "Why I Quit Working for MrBeast," in which he had nothing but positive things to say about his experience editing for Jimmy. In fact, he had claimed that his employer had even paid his rent for the entirety of his time working for him.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is the same guy who he went on the H3 podcast, and he talked about how supposedly there was some guy working for MrBeast who, like, I think Chris and other people were constantly making jokes about the guy's daughter and like doing stuff to his daughter, and eventually he had kind of a crash out moment and freaked out on them, which, I mean, it's obviously justified because you probably shouldn't be making weird jokes about someone's kids, you know? But yeah, this is the same guy who said that. I remember him.
But it wouldn't be long until Matt's recollection of the job would change completely. In October of 2019, Matt posted a thread on Twitter detailing the reality of his time on the MrBeast channel, with a much different tone than he had when he spoke about it previously. I'm not going to make a full video about my time editing for MrBeast, but I will say that was the most mentally draining time of my life. I was yelled at, bullied, called mentally retarded, and replaceable by MrBeast every day. Matt went on to allege
that's exactly how I treat my contractors, to be clear, which is freaking based.
That verbal abuse was a standard practice behind the scenes at the channel, and that he never received credit for any of his editing work. With Jimmy's squeaky clean reputation at the time, many people expressed skepticism to his claims due to a lack of receipts. These onlookers also pointed to Matt's older video praising Jimmy as another sign of his duplicitous nature. On top of that, they pointed out that a similar situation had happened a year prior with another former MrBeast editor by the name of Fly, who posted a now-deleted video with his own accusations of verbal abuse behind the scenes.
Smite says, I have a square of black tape on my screen just so I don't have to see that terrible, horrendous, nightmare-inducing cut. You look like Nanny McPhee? Who is that? Who's Nanny McPhee? Whoa. This guy is cool. This is a guy, right? I mean, it could be a guy. By today's standards, you never know. Dude, he's freaking me. That's literally me, dude. Can this be my profile picture now? I think it should be.
In that instance, Matt had responded by saying Fly's story did not match his own experiences working for Jimmy. In fact, Fly actually replied to Matt's 2019 call-out with support, doubling down on his claims of abuse and advising Matt to be careful about speaking up further. While Turner did post screenshots of text conversations between himself and someone who had allegedly had a bad experience working for MrBeast, he was unable to provide anything further. The internet as a whole was still very skeptical of the story, and this was only strengthened when Keemstar uploaded an episode of his show Drama Alert on October 9th. In this video, Jimmy claimed that not only was Matt lying about being abused, but that he had been paid $10,000 in severance upon leaving the channel. It's important to note that this episode of Drama Alert has since been removed from the internet for unknown reasons.
Really?
After Keem's fluff...
That is interesting. Why? Why was that removed? Why, though? Was that removed recently or way back then? Why did he delete that? Why? I mean, it's not like that video is like affecting MrBeast now. Did Keemstar get marching orders or copyright claim? Like, why? Damage control? But I mean, the damage control doesn't really matter because it's a Keemstar video. And also, like, I don't think that one video being removed is going to help MrBeast a lot now, considering that this controversy isn't even really being talked about. Like, this specific controversy isn't really a part of the wider conversation around MrBeast, so I'm very perplexed.
Piece, the opinion of the internet seemed to be fully in MrBeast's favor. Matt continued uploading videos to his personal YouTube channel, receiving dwindling views and a significant amount of dislikes. A year later, Matt posted a video reflecting on the whole affair, but this too would be poorly received as people accused Turner of downplaying his actions.
It wasn't a good decision, but kids make mistakes. I'm 21 now. I accept that whatever I do from here on out is myself. I did something as a kid. I just feel like there's some sort of plausible deniability there.
In the time since then, Matt has scrubbed every single one of his MrBeast videos from his channel, and the lack of documentation for the entire affair has left this story nothing more more than a vague memory in the minds of most internet users. But in hindsight, it kind of foreshadowed a lot of what would happen next.
He's just trying to get attention, and it's sad, but now I know I can't trust people that, especially people on the internet, because, you know, if my numbers are good, they're just gonna fabricate and lie and try to use me as a stepping stone, and it's honestly just pathetic.
Finger on the app.
A major part of MrBeast's appeal is his willingness to give away ludicrous amounts of money to his fan base in the name of spectacle. In fact, many have subscribed to Jimmy because of his frequent monetary giveaways. And as his channel grew, so did his ambitions. In June of 2020, MrBeast released a phone game called Finger on the App. As the name implies, the goal was for players to keep their digit on their phone screens for as long as possible without removing them. The app would keep track of every single player around the world, with the last man standing receiving a grand prize of $25,000. When the challenge started, over 1 million people across the globe all joined in to try to win the cash. As can be expected from such a high-profile event, there were a few troublemakers. One person created a robot to simulate a finger, while someone on Twitch changed their username in order to trick unsuspecting people streaming their gameplay into getting knocked out.
Hey Ziri, I appreciate
Dude, this guy's the GOAT. I've never heard of this guy. That's fucking awesome, though.
Oh my god!
I don't know what that means.
Fucking kidding me. But for the most part,
destroyed.
Things went smoothly as
that's what I would do, dude. W cheating.
Players were eliminated one by one. Eventually, after several days of playing, all but 4 of the contestants were out. MrBeast decided to reward their dedication by ending the contest early, giving the remaining players $20,000 each. Though it should be noted that this was $5,000 less than what was originally promised for the winner. Regardless of that, by all accounts, this experiment turned out to be a success. So MrBeast and his team got to work figuring out how they would top it. In March of 2021, Beast Games released a new mobile experience called Finger on the App 2, featuring the same rules as the previous game. This time around, though, the prize had been raised to a whopping $100,000. Once again, over 1 million people downloaded the app and got their fingers in position. But those who were expecting a smooth gameplay experience like the previous Finger on the App challenge were sorely disappointed. You see, if someone were to scroll through the user reviews for the application today, they would find a plethora of angry players who claim to have been unfairly eliminated due to the software's buggy nature. Almost immediately after the game started,
this just seems like such a bad idea in general. An app where if you take your finger off, you lose it. I mean, it seems like such an easy thing to fuck up, right? Like if you even change the pressure sensitivity of your thumb that's on the screen at any point in time, it could easily make you lose it when you still haven't taken your finger off, right?
Tweets and videos were posted by people who had been dropped from the game for seemingly no reason, as their fingers had never left their phone screen. These angry players hurled accusations at MrBeast, saying he had released a substandard product in order to scam his fanbase. To his credit, Jimmy and his team were quick to respond to these criticisms, saying that they were looking into any potential glitches and offering other explanations as to why people may have been eliminated, such as connectivity issues or moisture affecting the touchscreen sensitivity. While this calmed things down a tad, the deluge of outrage was still ongoing.
I've never even heard of this. I've never even heard of this controversy. They went deep for this. Okay, the deluge of outrage. In fairness, the fact that I've never heard of it probably means there weren't that many people talking about it. And I'm not saying that because I'm like the all-seeing eye, but generally I'm pretty tapped in with YouTube drama, and I don't remember this ever being a conversation. MrBeast's finger on the app. On the app. Were there videos about this back in the day? Oh, wow, there actually were. I'm totally wrong. 7 million views on a Sunny V2 video. MrBeast accidental challenge catastrophe. Finger on the app too. So this was actually a big conversation back in the day that I didn't even know about. Yeah, this video had 2 million views. MrBeast finger on the app fail compilation.
No! No! No!
Yes. You're fucking owned, bro.
Serious?
No!
Yes. Dude, if my friends were doing this, I would just say, hey Siri around all of them instantly. I would say, hey Siri instantly around every single one of them.
Perhaps this anger would have been less severe if it hadn't been for Finger on the App 2's forms of monetization. If a user wanted some extra breathing room, they could purchase additional lives from
microtransactions.
$3 to $8.
He's literally just like EA.
This only led to more people feeling as though they had been ripped off, as these lives disappeared frequently with very little explanation. Once again though, the Beast Games team were quick to do damage control, offering refunds to players who felt like they had unfairly lost lives they had purchased. Once again, there were still many angry customers, but this kept the situation from getting out of control. That being said, there was one other commonly occurring reason for players being eliminated that was harder to explain. What needs to be understood is that Finger on the App 2 was sponsored by the phone game Lords Mobile, and the way they went about advertising it seemed to irk a large number of users. Many people reported being knocked out by a pop-up ad interrupting their gameplay out of nowhere. Some people felt as though it was a deliberate attempt to eliminate a large number of players simultaneously. Jimmy's team flatly denied these accusations though, claiming that people were misinterpreting what was happening. According to them, the ads were only supposed to play after a contestant had already been knocked out. So these instances were actually just a matter of players not paying attention to their phone screens, losing all their lives, and then assuming the ad had been responsible.
Exactly. You see, if you're doing this, you need to be locked in. You need to have multiple zins in. I'd say a minimum of 3 or 4, right? If you're going to be in there, you're going to have your finger on the app. You need to be looking at the screen at all times. You can't have lo-fi music in the background. You can't have Joe Rogan on in the background. You need to have your fucking asshole, your stink star pressed against the screen for as long as possible.
Eventually, despite all the hardships and complaints, a winner was decided for the challenge after just over 2 days of gameplay. While MrBeast's PR team managed to keep the anger felt by many players from spiraling into a full-blown outrage, the many bugs and glitches reported about Finger on the App 2 certainly tainted its reputation in the eyes of most internet users. As of now, there seems to be no plans for a Finger on the App 3, as Jimmy has moved on to more grandiose methods of making money from his fanbase.
Was there a controversy around Squid Game? I guess in fairness, with anything he does, because he's so big, there's probably going to be a decent amount of controversy around it. But I didn't know there was controversy around fucking Squid Game at all. So keep in mind, an hour into this video is where the actual controversies, well, I say actual, not that all of these are nothing, but about 50 minutes into the video is where the actual drama that we know started. The first entire hour, which is, basically like 22% of the video, something like that, 25% of the video, is all dedicated to talking about stuff that happened before the actual allegations came out. So they went very deep on this. They went very deep. God damn. Sardino, you're not going to get away with saying there's a spider on the wall. Even if there was, I wouldn't care, because I love spiders. I've never had any issue with spiders. I think spiders are so cute and adorable, and I would never have any problem with that. Didn't wash his hands. Why do I wash my hands? That's freaking woke, dude. Washing your hands is woke. We all know that, okay? Washing your hands is like a Kamala type thing, and I'm not about that. I'm not about that at all.
In 2021, the Netflix show Squid Game took the world by storm. The South Korean drama about poor people...
RFK is going to ban hand washing, as he should. As he should, dude. Hand washing is cringe. We don't need sinks. That just uses up water that we could be using, to do more valuable things. Like flow all the immigrants right down the river. This guy must be pregnant with how many times he pisses on stream. I am pregnant.
Competing in a series of deadly challenges in order to pay off their debts captivated millions, making it the streaming service's most popular series of all time. With all the hype surrounding Squid Game, there were many on the outside looking in who wanted a piece of that pie, and one of those individuals was none other than MrBeast. On October 11th, Jimmy posted a TikTok claiming that if his post received 10 million likes, he would recreate Squid Game in real life. The video received nearly double that, with over 19 million people encouraging the YouTube celebrity to go through with his plan, and he quickly set to work turning it into a reality. Over the next few weeks, he would post occasional updates on how progress was going, until he finally revealed in November that he and his team had painstakingly and accurately recreated every single set from the show. Finally, on November 14th, Jimmy uploaded $456,000 Squid Game in real life, in which 456 contestants competed to win the prize money. And just like Netflix Squid Game, this video soon became MrBeast's most popular upload of all time.
I'm pretty sure this was actually the most expensive YouTube video of all time. I remember a lot of people talking about its production and how insane it was. I think it cost them like, I might be lying here. I'm going to try to, you know, before I say the number, I'm just going to look it up, but I think it was millions. Okay, so according to this, partially funded by Finnish video game developer Supercell to promote his mobile game Brawl Stars, it cost $3.5 million to produce, of which $2 million was spent on sets and production. $1.5 million was given as cash prizes to the contestants. I think this is probably the most expensive YouTube video of all time. If it's not, it was probably the most expensive at the time that it was released. That is fucking insane, okay? That is fucking crazy. Like, look, you know, I don't even want to say the phrase criticize MrBeast all you want, because I feel like that implies that like there aren't criticisms to be made of him or they don't matter. They do matter. But it is still so impressive to me that he pushed the YouTube platform in such a way that he was able to spend $3.5 million on one video. I miss PewDiePie. What do you mean PewDiePie's still around, Pine Tree? Do you mean you just miss like that era of YouTube, or like you miss when the most popular YouTuber was just like one guy? Is that what you miss? PewDiePie's still around. He still posts, just not as much as he used to. Low-key impressive and high-key impressive. I think a lot of people do, like a lot of old YouTube viewers. I miss racist PewDiePie. I think a lot of old YouTube viewers do kind of miss when YouTube was more of like a, I don't know, like the most popular guy was just one dude with like two editors, rather than the most popular guy being one guy with a team of 300 who the content isn't really about him. But like realistically speaking, it was always going to happen. You know, I just see it as a symptom of YouTube getting bigger. There's still a lot of people you can watch who are just, you know, independent content creators who don't have a team, who just do their own shit. Less corporatized. I mean, there's just more options now. There's still a lot of people on YouTube who are not super corporate, but there's also the corporate guys, right? If you want to search out personal stuff on YouTube, it exists. You can watch it.
Not everyone was so thrilled about this project though. Many online began voicing their distaste for the upload, saying that Jimmy was just an out-of-touch rich person who completely missed the point of Squid Game. While the original show was a critique on capitalism, MrBeast embraced the premise without question. The premise itself was about people sacrificing their own mental and physical well-being for life-changing money. And his critics accused Jimmy of doing just that with his...
Okay, I don't think that the Squid Game video was life-threatening to my knowledge. As far as I'm aware, it wasn't. But also, like, are you not allowed to make a video that is just like spoofing something else without going over the in-depth capitalist critiques of it? This is the most annoying thing too, right? Like shit like this, I feel like these criticisms that ultimately just don't matter and mean nothing. I feel like this delegitimizes a lot of the early criticisms about MrBeast that maybe could have been made, because all the people that were whining about him were just socialists complaining about the fact that he fucking doesn't talk about capitalism enough or doesn't talk about the Koch brothers enough. Like, shut up. You suck.
His videos. MrBeast's fans fought back against this criticism, claiming they were simply reading too far into what was nothing more than a bit of fun. And even if what they were saying was true, it still ended with someone winning money, so the net result was a positive. It also helped that when Netflix produced their own real-life version of the challenge, they faced similar criticisms on top of allegations of onset injuries. For his part, Jimmy remained silent on the matter, seemingly happy enough with his hundreds of millions of views that he was able to ignore the outrage. In addition to his
Oh yeah, bro. I made videos about this back in the day. Hold on. So if you look up Tom Dark MrBeast, I mean, these are all obviously recent, but I'm curious if I can even find some of the old shit. Because I know for a fact, I made old videos about MrBeast where I defended him over this exact kind of stuff. Let me see if I can find it in my YouTube dashboard, because I know they existed. I just want to analyze like the time capsule, because I feel like these videos would not be made now, generally speaking. But back in the day, let's see, MrBeast. Here we go. Yeah.
You think I'm gonna say it?
This is not even that long ago, 2 years ago, November 20th, 2021. So almost 3 years ago now. This is when this stuff was being talked about.
Individuals on that site getting around, gathering around each other and supporting their own takes. And today's story is no different. We all know who MrBeast is, one of, if not the most popular YouTuber in the world right now. Most people know him for his videos where he's like, I bought 100 orphans. What can this blowtorch do to them? But I really remember him for, or rather like the thing that comes to mind when I think about the name MrBeast, are his old videos where he would say a word for like 10 hours or watch a video for 10 hours.
And this whole video was me defending him because they were shitting on him over nothing. Top comment: he's giving he's giving a ton of working class people a lot of money by paying them to build the sets, shoot the video, etc. So honestly, a way better way of giving money than just giving a random person 100K. True. Given the amount of controversy before recent allegations, how do you think the risk management meeting went at Amazon before signing such a huge deal with him? I mean, they talked about it on there's a fucking Business Insider article I read about this shit. I don't know how the risk management meeting went as far as the deal itself the whole time, but they did talk about how, because, you know, obviously a big way that these, you know, shows make money is advertising. MrBeast was planning on getting a bunch of ads on it, and that was how it was going to, you know, support the show monetarily, right? He was going to get a bunch of ads on the Amazon series, and a lot of companies kind of got cold feet after these allegations came out. So how did the risk management meeting go? Ultimately, if I had to guess, the way it went was like, well, this is risky. He's a YouTuber, but at the same time, he's the biggest in the world. He's the best at it. Why not just have him there, right? But as far as the ads, I mean, it seems like the controversy lost him most of, if not all of the ads on the Amazon series. We'll have to see how it goes ultimately. Maybe it'll come out and there will be advertisers on it, but it seems like the majority of them just tapped out, man.
Normal uploads on the MrBeast channel, Jimmy and the gang also conduct frequent charity work, which they film.
How do you sound that different in 2 years? Your voice is way deeper. Aging? I mean, it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was 19. Now I'm 22, so just aging generally.
An upload to an account called Beast Philanthropy. These videos have been largely enjoyed by the team's core audience and ignored by the rest of the internet population. However, when one of these videos was uploaded to the main account, people took notice in a big way. On January 28th, 2023, MrBeast posted a video titled 1,000 Blind People See for the First Time. In it, Jimmy found 1,000 people across the globe whose vision was impaired and paid for them to have a cataract surgery done. Not only that, but he also gave many of the participants additional cash donations, and even gifted one teenager a free Tesla. In addition, Jimmy explained how simple the procedure was, and stated his belief that it should be available to everyone who needs it. He also included a link in the description so people could donate and help more around the world to see. To many, this was seen as an incredibly generous act from a YouTube superstar, but not everybody felt that way. Shortly after the video was uploaded, an increasingly vocal subsection of Twitter began expressing their displeasure with what MrBeast had done. They accused Jimmy of exploiting the people who appeared in the video for content.
Oh yeah, I remember this tweet. There's something so demonic about this that I can't even articulate what it is. I mean, I guess it is like somewhat cringe to have like this child with his eyes wide and tears in it. Like, it is somewhat cringe, but I mean, he still apparently cured 1,000 people's blindness, right? Like, that's still a good thing. Is it that demonic? Like, ultimately, doing this kind of content funded the next thing he did. I don't think any of these people are upset about the fact that he was curing their blindness and that he was able to cure other people of whatever illness they had in the next, thing, the next video he did, right? I feel like it's not a bad thing because the fuck is clearly edited. I mean, it is edited. I think their problem is just it's like philanthropy on YouTube and he gets attention for it, right? I think that's the problem. Like, all this shit about him is just, this point of criticism against MrBeast is so annoying to me. The real stuff really starts, in my opinion, once we get to the Chris Tyson stuff. Why is it Cheeto and controversy? I mean, I assume because he made some lazy, not good videos, but I don't exactly know.
Believing that he had no actual desire to help anyone. Others pointed out that the money to pay for these procedures did not come directly out of Jimmy's own pockets, but instead from the Beast Philanthropy charity. They argued that this supposed act of generosity was nothing more than a thinly veiled tax write-off and publicity stunt. It probably goes without saying that this was the vocal minority. However, Jimmy decided to uncharacteristically weigh in on the backlash, stating in a tweet, "Twitter, rich people should help others with their money. Me, okay, I'll use my money to help people and I promise to give away all my money before I die. Every single penny. Twitter, MrBeast bad." This response caused further outrage from critics, but once again,
one of the main criticisms of him at the time was like, you're talking about how you're helping people, but you won't even call out capitalism and end capitalism, as if MrBeast, even in the famous position he's in, has the ability to shift class consciousness, talk about politics, and end capitalism. Okay, even if you're fucking critical of capitalism, the very idea of it being so widespread and ultimately I don't know what do you want to call it, all encompassing. Shouldn't that shouldn't that prerequisite belief also instill the idea that MrBeast is incapable of changing it? He's one YouTuber. What's he gonna do, man?
The vast majority took his side and felt the criticisms were petty. It should be noted that Jimmy actually continued responding to people who were critical of the video after this. Apparently, something about this backlash had touched a nerve, causing him to break from his normal strategy of ignoring controversy until it died down. When people continued accusing him of profiting off his charity work, he jumped in to state that he had lost $1.5 million on videos the previous year. But to play the devil's advocate, he was losing money on a business that was growing in value to over $1 billion, but that's beyond the point. A couple of months later, in March of 2023, a video was uploaded to the Beast Philanthropy channel titled "Giving 20,000 Shoes to Kids in Africa." Although this was published to the normally overlooked charity channel, the fact that it came out so close to the other controversial MrBeast projects ignited another round.
Is he still doing Beast Philanthropy? MrBeast Philanthropy, I assume so? We funded a gym for adaptive athletes, empowering girls in India.
Sure, an incredible beauty.
PewDiePie would never do this. He'd talk about bobs and vagine.
40 million children in India live like this. And to make things worse, millions of them grew up without having any kind of family.
Bro, the editing is kind of insane, to be honest. It is kind of insane. Just like pictures of Indian children with like crying sound effects.
Every country struggles with poverty, but unfortunately, India has the highest population of orphans in the world, meaning that many of them face abuse, malnutrition, early marriage, and unplanned pregnancy. And because of all the obstacles that these children face, completing their education is unfortunately a lower priority. And after receiving multiple comments from you guys asking us to come visit India, we decided to, and so much more happened than we had expected. We collaborated with one of the biggest stars in Bollywood. Darren became a fashion designer, and we discovered multiple people making a massive difference in their community.
Being an Indian, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, none of the comments here are talking about the controversy. I'm curious if people outside of the US are like not, I mean, these people speak English, but I'm curious if people who aren't like native English speakers even care about or know about this controversy at all. It looks like, actually, it looks like the latest two Beast Philanthropy videos have performed like fucking shit. 2 months ago, 23 million views, 24 million views. Only 6 mil on this one, only 4.4 mil on this one. What is he actually starting to fall off? Is it actually happening? The latest two MrBeast videos didn't do nearly as well as the two before that. Well, the three before that, and before that, he was getting a lot more views on average. I don't know. Maybe it is happening a little bit. Well, this was 170 mil, 230 mil, 130 mil. I mean, if he does fall off completely, it's going to be a very slow decline, but maybe it is actually happening. Maybe people are losing maybe the squeaky clean reputation side of MrBeast, maybe that being affected has made him less of a beloved guy. It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Round of outrage. People on Twitter once again accused Jimmy of
measly 70 mil. Well, okay, I say measly 70 mil, but it's compared to like what he was doing, you know? I feel like for him not cracking like 150 mil is probably a failure in his mind.
Not really caring about the people he was helping, and instead exploiting them for views and profit. But just like before, this was a vocal minority, and most Twitter users praised Jimmy for his actions. This controversy would somehow be stirred up again a third time in May of 2023, when the MrBeast channel saw a new upload called 1,000 Deaf People Here for the first time. In it, Jimmy paid to have several hundred hearing-impaired people across the globe receive state-of-the-art hearing aids which would adapt to their specific needs. Just like the previous instances, this act of charity received a mixed reception. This time, though, the negative response was slightly different. Some deaf people accused Jimmy and his team of misrepresenting the reality of the situation, as hearing aids often aren't as effective as they seem in the video. They argue that the wearers usually take some time to fully adjust to the devices, which occasionally don't work at all.
I mean, that's probably true, but once again, like, is MrBeast systematically like pushing the hearing aid industry? Or was he just making a video where he was helping people who can't hear with the hearing aids, right? Like, I don't want to just make the argument every time, like, look at the big picture, but seriously, look at the big fucking picture. Like, I don't think him doing charity work was ever a thing people should have been upset about. Like, does charity have to be, is charity being, should you criticize charity if it's imperfect or there's criticisms of it? Yeah, obviously. But like, this is just so nothing. It's funny to point out that such large numbers are considered falling off, but it's important to recognize that that really is the situation we're dealing with. I mean, his videos are so expensive to make. I assume that getting less views is a problem, right? I mean, the thing is, like, you know, a lot of YouTube channels will ebb and flow, so maybe he'll fall, you know, quote unquote, fall off a little bit, getting 50 mil to 70 mil like view videos for a while and have to, like, you know, decrease expenses or something, and then he'll climb back up again once the controversy dies down. But it is possible. It's him using charity as a prop to boost his image. I mean, I agree, but at the same time, like, it's still charitable work, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And it's charitable work that's not at the expense of anyone, right? Like, it doesn't make him look good and his brand look good, obviously. But it's not like the charity is scamming people, as far as I know. It's not like it's being disingenuous. It's still charity, right? Charity is still charity, even if it's done for, even if it's done partially for personal gain. Like, ideally, would there never be, in a perfect world, would he be doing charity and nobody would ever hear about it? Yes. But he's not going to do that because obviously doing the charity in public makes money that he can use for other charitable products. Like, there is a benefit to it, you know? Keep deaf people deaf so we can shut them in peace. Oh, shit talk them in peace. Yeah, I mean, yelling at the back of a deaf person's head. W moment, kind of. I was agreeing with you, Tom. I was just pointing out to the people in chat who were acting like it's purely ridiculous to consider the 70 million views low. Yeah, obviously. I mean, the thing is, like, for me, you know, if I get a video that gets like 300,000 views on the main channel, I'm going to be upset about that because I wanted to get like the standard views of, like, you know, 700K to 1 million within the first couple weeks. But like, to some people, they'd be like, oh, we're 300 views. How are you upset about that? And it's like, well, obviously, like, we adjust to standards as humans, you know? Hey, Tom, I'm back about the 6 Arakan dude. Sorry to be off topic. Please watch 90s Routers video called Worst Streamer Unmasked to understand why he needs to be deplatformed. All right, 6 Arakan. Perhaps. In some world, I will watch this. Let me see. All right, this video. Okay, I'll copy the link. Perhaps I will watch this. Like, no promises, but I'll put it at the bottom of my list. Okay. To be clear, if you want me to watch the video because you think I'll like change the situation or like I will be the one to end it, that's not going to be me. If you want me to watch it, it's just going to be, you know, entertainment and to see my views and stuff. But it's not going to be like a fucking game changing thing for me to react to a video. You know what I mean? Generally speaking. Smite says, it's not that deep. Yes, there are some things to be concerned about, but a vast majority of this drama is just people being petty. He's human. I mean, it's not just about him being human. It's more like, it's not just like, oh, we're human, we make mistakes. The conversation is actually, at this point in time, the quote-unquote mistakes he was making were not even mistakes. It was just people being mad about him for no reason.
But as usual, these criticisms were dismissed by most, and Jimmy did not respond.
Beast Burger.
In recent years, MrBeast has been expanding his brand well beyond just YouTube videos. With his projects only getting bigger and bigger, these ventures were envisioned as a way to fund otherwise unprofitable videos.
I just need to figure out how to make more money so I can fund all this stuff. And so that's kind of what got me started on doing this. And I'm just very passionate about food in general.
With him receiving well over 100 million views per upload, a sponsored message on his channel costs a 7-figure sum of money. And while most creators would be ecstatic with that, 3 years ago, MrBeast saw a bigger vision. You see, instead of getting a one-time payment of $1 million, if the top creator created an in-house brand to promote instead, he could scale it to be worth $200 million. And this concept was the inception of MrBeast Burger.
MrBeast Burger, super ambitious, cool idea from the start, and execution seems like it was somewhat of a failure, ultimately. I had MrBeast Burger, I think, once or twice. I think it wasn't very good. I think it was kind of dry and shitty. But on top of that, like, the whole inception behind this fucking business, right? The whole business fucking plan was we're going to have ghost kitchens do our shit, right? Which will help small businesses because these businesses that are not making a lot of money during the pandemic will have orders to fulfill. They'll make money from it because people order on Uber Eats, and these small businesses will make our products and it'll benefit them. But the problem you have with that is quality control. It's clear, there's not going to be any good quality control if random businesses that could be good or could be bad are making it. One person in Arkansas could get a fucking fire Beast Burger. One person in fucking California could get an amazing Beast Burger. But if you have one shitty business in North Dakota that doesn't do a good job of making these Beast Burgers because they're lazy or they have poor quality control, they don't use the right materials, then ultimately what's going to happen? It's going to tarnish the brand when people on Twitter talk about it, and nobody's going to want to order Beast Burger anymore, right? You need to have some kind of quality control enforceable with any product you're selling if it's tied to your business. The way he removed his need to court sponsors was genius. I mean, the idea in and of itself is smart. It's good. But with this specific business plan, I think it was kind of doomed to fail.
As he premiered...
I was an Uber Eats driver. Shit was selling like crazy. Oh, I'm sure it was, for sure. I'm sure it was. But long term, You know, just because something's selling like crazy in the short term doesn't mean it's going to sell long term if the product is not consistently good.
To his fan base at the end.
McDonald's is shit and people eat it. I mean, yeah, but like people still like McDonald's even though it's shit, right? This is not the same thing. I got banned in my favorite Discord server. I called the owner retarded, and now I won't get unbanned. You should probably get off of Discord. That's probably a bad idea in the first place. Maybe you should touch grass. Showed.
End of 2020.
I opened up the world's first free restaurant. And if that wasn't enough, I also paid people to eat at my restaurant.
This business of a delivery-only fast food shop was a product of the pandemic, keeping people inside, and also allowed Jimmy to rapidly expand since he didn't have to worry about building out brick-and-mortar locations, but instead ghost kitchens in pre-existing restaurants that might have been struggling due to the global conditions. Jimmy went so far as to claim this was its primary goal and he wasn't concerned with profits at all.
The big driver was we really wanted to just help a lot of restaurants generate extra revenue. It's more to help other people. Like I haven't taken a single dollar out of it. We just reinvested all over there.
He even claimed it was an attempt to get people to try alternatives to conventional meat.
With Beast Burger, that's why I'm really trying to figure out how we can get more people eating something like Impossible Meat. Or right now we're looking heavily into lab-grown meat and stuff like that.
Immediately, this simple concept was a massive hit.
Bro, the lab-grown meat, the Impossible Burger. I never had lab-grown meat. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's good. I don't even know where they sell that. But the Impossible shit, it's okay. It's fine sometimes. But when I did the Vegan Gains video, if you guys watch that video, in it he makes me watch this movie called Dominion. Dominion is a fucking movie about the meat industry and how horrible they treat animals. So I watched that and I was like, this is fucked up. And for that night, I was like, I gotta try being a vegan. I was like, I gotta try being a vegan. So that night, I went out to get burgers, and I got an Impossible Burger at this burger place that I liked. Okay, I ordered it. It came. First of all, the person who brought it, the fucking chef, they put non-vegan cheese on it. So from the start, it was like not a vegan thing, but I was like, all right. She was like, oh, do you want me to take it back? I was like, no, I'll eat it anyway. It's fine. You put, effort into it, whatever. I'll eat it. I don't want to make you guys remake the burger. I'm not a real fucking vegan yet. So I ate it. And then I was like, man, it's just not the same. I can't eat a fucking Impossible Burger. There's no way I can do that. I can't eat an Impossible Burger every day. There's no way. So I ate it. I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe I can do it. I went to bed. The next day I woke up. I had my pre-workout, went to the gym. I was on the drive back and I was like, well, I guess I got to eat some vegan meat now. And I stopped at the grocery store and I bought chicken. And I ate chicken. Not vegan chicken, not Impossible chicken, just chicken. And I think the main problem for the vegans is that they got to make something that tastes as good as meat. And the Impossible Burger just doesn't. It doesn't taste nearly as good. Meat just tastes way better. And there's these people that will say like, oh, no, you're just accustomed to meat. You're just accustomed to eating meat, man. Meat actually tastes like shit. You would really like it if you just switched to being a vegan. And it's like, bro, no. I'm sorry, but no. There's just no way. There's no vegan alternative, I think, that exists out there in the world that is better than biting into a fucking steak. It doesn't exist, man.
Soon expanding, so hundreds of millions had the ability.
Vegans admit real meat tastes better. Vegan Gains told me he didn't like the taste of meat. He didn't like the texture. He was like, I love the vegan meat. I was like, bro, there's no way. There's just no way. There's just no fucking way, bro. It just is not the same. You haven't had a good steak. You haven't had a shitty steak. A shitty diner steak tastes way better than any fucking Impossible meat. I'm sorry, Chicky, you're just too delicious. Dude, literally, it's way better, dude. Also, during that video, Vegan Gains had me go to this it was like a vegan chicken place, and the chicken actually tasted good, but then for the rest of the night I felt like shit and I had to go to bed early because I felt sick. It upset my stomach. Never had that with chicken. Well, I probably have that with chicken. I probably have had that with the real chicken at one point if I eat like Popeyes, but generally when I eat chicken I'm not going to feel like shit about it, and I don't think it's just adjusting diets. I think it just had me have like fucking bowel problems because it's just different, dude. Okay,
order Beast style fries on their smartphone whenever they wanted. And less than 2 years later, he was opening up his first physical location with 10,000 in attendance. It was located inside the second largest mall in America, which still struggled to hold the sheer amount of people. The ensuing chaos resulted in some of the few instances of Jimmy losing his composure on camera.
After they take the photos, we move them out of here. Why are we allowing them to linger?
Yeah, I know. The only issue is the merch store is right there.
What, behind us?
No, right back where you were taking pictures.
Right there.
So we're going to have to move the merch
Why
store.
is there a merch store? Them on.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
get rid of it. Give it to them for free. I don't care. Just move those barriers.
I'm actually surprised that they didn't cut this out of the video. I don't think what he's saying here is that bad. He's just frustrated that shit isn't working out. He's like, fucking get it done. Like, I mean, this is just how people talk when they're frustrated and stressed out. Running a biz, you know, you're going to be frustrated about it.
Move this back. Literally, just make that happen. I promise this will flow 30 times better. Okay. Am I speaking gibberish?
In the midst of all this, he invited fellow creators.
Oh, yes!
In it.
Dude, okay. I immediately know who helped work on this video. Based on the fact he's mentioning this, I know we've seen this video before. I know what he's talking about here, man. I know exactly what he's talking about. Vegan replacements are just ultra processed sludge. I mean, they might be. I mean, a lot of meat is probably ultra processed sludge that gives you heart problems, but I don't think the problem is just that it's I love ultra processed shit, dude. McDonald's is ultra processed sludge, and I love it. Okay. The problem is that the vegan stuff just doesn't taste that good. Okay. The meat, the savory taste of a good burger. Okay. It's just nothing compares.
Backstage in hopes of filming an ad for his product. Tommy didn't take it seriously, resulting in a hilariously uncomfortable interaction where Jimmy threatens to never work with him again.
You know what? From this day on, I will never film with Tommy ever again. I'll never eat a burger again.
With all that said, the chain seemed to be on the top of the world, poised to be one of the next fast food titans. They even did a collaboration with Dream, who got his very own menu item for a limited time. But as 2023
the savory meat, Tom? Dude, I love savory meat in my mouth. What are you talking about? Obviously.
Rolled in, viewers would be
when it touches my uvula and I go, beast.
Hard pressed to hear much about MrBeast Burger at all. And Jimmy moved on to new ventures. At first, many assumed a more positive spin to the story. It was surmised that Jimmy had moved his focus to Feastables as the world started to go back to somewhat normal. And that MrBeast Burger was still a feather in Jimmy's hat of business accomplishments. He scaled it, it was running to a level he was satisfied with, he didn't feel like dealing with the complicated nature of adding more physical locations, and moved on to his next win. But this facade started to crumble when the creator Eddie Burback released a viral video in which he scrutinized the world of ghost kitchens. This gave millions a brand new perspective on the once hot new industry, and YouTube's biggest creator was one of the main focal points. Eddie was able to shift the narrative away from ghost kitchens such as MrBeast Burger being an innovative eating experience, to instead that of a soulless business model that took customers away from mom and pop shops, with derivative storefronts that sold the same exact food and crowded out competition on apps like DoorDash. There's also been
I'm kind of perplexed by that because isn't the whole benefit to it that, like, for example, during like COVID, obviously people weren't able to go to various businesses or, you know, whatever. They couldn't really go outside. Businesses were on lockdown. They couldn't be open. There were no customers there. People were scared of going outside to buy shit, right? But then Beast Burger offers like an alternative where these businesses can still make a product and make money from it and get paid via a partnership, and then the consumers still get a product in the end because they can order shit, right? Like, I feel like is there not a benefit to that? I mean, is it soulless? I guess isn't every business? I mean, not every business. A lot of businesses are soulless to an extent. Is that a problem? I'm kind of perplexed by that. I never heard anything good about MrBeast fries. Makes you think. I think when I had Beast Burger, I think the fries were actually the only kind of good part, but it's because I got it from a place that did it well. But the burger wasn't that good. It was like, I think it was overcooked. It wasn't raw. It was just like super overdone. Now, when it's a ghost kitchen filling orders, well, okay, that is true because ultimately what happened as a result of this is that ghost kitchens ended up becoming a thing in general, right? But initially, the ghost kitchens, a lot of it was like mom and pop places. Ghost kitchens shouldn't be a thing in the first place. I mean, I don't know that they necessarily shouldn't be a thing in the first place. Like, a lot of people just order shit on Uber Eats. It's much more profitable to have a ghost kitchen probably than a real storefront because you don't have to deal with customers. People who order on Uber Eats in major cities can just order from a ghost kitchen and get their food delivered to them without having to fucking go there. I don't think ghost kitchens are necessarily a bad thing, like inherently, but there's always problems with every kind of business model, right? Like things will change, you know? Read my next comment. What is your next comment? Why would you say read my next comment and then not just put it into the no-no? Your ASMR Coke snivels are getting to me. Well, I love cocaine. Have you had vegan bacon? It should be illegal attempted assault. I'm sure there's different kinds of vegan bacon, but I haven't had like all of them. I don't know that I've ever had any vegan bacon. Maybe I did. Have I? I don't know. If I did, I don't remember it. Turkey bacon is where it's at. No. Sometimes it's okay, but there's no substitute for fucking pork. There's just not, dude. It's not going to happen.
In a worrying amount of press about how the government hasn't been able to keep up with new health inspection processes for these invisible storefronts to keep the public informed on safety and allergy concerns. In some cases, the trailers used to prepare this food have proven unsafe for workers. On top of this, Eddie revealed through his order of Jimmy's signature products that the quality was inconsistent to say the least.
This is what the Impossible Beast style burger is supposed to look like.
Looks good.
And this looks like if somebody drew a burger.
Wait, hold on. I'm perplexed.
Burger is supposed.
Are there multiple patties here? It's like a stacked. You got multiple patties here. You've got cheese in the middle. I mean that that does look good. Even though it is impossible, it still looks good.
Supposed to look like. And this looks like if somebody drew.
That looks like a burger I would make, dude.
Drew a burger for me? How is this real? It looks like a Krabby Patty.
After the skewering, Jimmy finally
The Matrix censored my comment base, though.
Took a stronger stance against his once darling business by unlisting the video that premiered the brand. He tweeted, "I started MrBeast's Burger to help restaurants make more money during the pandemic, and it worked. But sadly, when working with 2,000 restaurants I don't own, it's impossible to guarantee the order quality. I'm moving on from MrBeast Burger so I can focus on Feastables and making snacks. And to be honest, I just enjoy Feastables 100 times more. Making snacks is awesome and something I'm way more passionate about."
Eddie Bareback. How did I not think of that? Fuck. Wait, I did think of it. There was no chat. Eddie Bareback base. Okay, there's no way you enjoyed the first Feastables formula. There's just no way, dude. You're lying. The first Feastables formula sucked. The second Feastables formula, better. The first one was not good. It was not good at all. I'll say it until the day I fucking die. The first Feastables formula was shit. It tasted like shit. They tried to make it healthy. Don't try to make things healthy. It usually makes it suck.
But the company I partnered with won't let me stop, even though it's terrible for my brand. Young Beast signed a bad deal. Having partnered in 2020 with the ghost kitchen startup Virtual Dining Concepts, things went sour as orders came in that didn't live up to the MrBeast moniker.
Ghost kitchens are cancer because if you order something from one restaurant, you have a bad experience, you may come across the same cooks that screwed you over in the first place. Same place, different menus, slots, and names. Oh, fuck, I hadn't thought of. So you're saying, I guess that makes sense. So with the ghost kitchen, the products are sold by multiple restaurants technically, but the ghost kitchen is just the same people making it from multiple different places. That's interesting. I mean, that does sound fucking cancer. I was in Texas not that long ago trying to fucking get food. And I was like looking for, it was like 1 a.m. or something. So a lot of places were closed. I was like, okay, I want to get food. So we put in like a restaurant on maps. We went there and we went in there and it wasn't a real restaurant. It was a ghost kitchen and you could order there in person, but it was just an iPad. I was like, what? Because on maps, it showed up as a real restaurant you can go to. And then I went there and there was no seats. There was just an iPad and then a window and that was it. And it was like 35 minutes to get the order done because they ship it out to Uber Eats, which is a more expected time. It was like, what the fuck?
And it's no surprise that this standoff occurred to many that know the space. When looking at food franchises, there were clearly risks not fully thought out. When the chain Jack in the Box had a containment outbreak leading to someone getting sick and dying, it was almost a death sentence to the brand. Now imagine if something bad happened to a kid eating MrBeast Burger. Jimmy's face would permanently be attached to that story even if he had no involvement with the negligence. In a turn of events, shortly after this fallout went public, many of Jimmy's tweets were deleted, and the video promoting the chain was made live again. It was clear to everyone involved that a fight was brewing behind the scenes as contractual obligations made the YouTuber reverse course for the time being.
What would a Tom Dark burger look like? Well, there'd be a bed of, sort of a Zin bun. I think if we replace that bun with a big nicotine pouch on both ends, I think that'd be good. I think in the middle, I don't know if it could be, I don't think it would be meat. It has to be something else. It has to be something else in the middle. Maybe like a big patty of Sour Patch Kids held together by breadcrumbs and glue and gasoline. I think that would be good. And then for the cheese, I think some kind of like testosterone supplement cheese would probably be good. And that would probably be the main thing. I think that would make sense. I think it would sell well. And I wouldn't use ghost kitchens. I would have physical locations. So the quality of the Zin pouches is not going to be bad. You're not going to get a Zin pouch that's already busted or bursted. You're not going to be getting that Sour Patch Kids patty that's bad. Like it's always going to be consistent, right? It's always going to be consistent because that's what I am. I'm a consistent guy.
That came to a head in August of 2023 when MrBeast sued.
Forgot the cocaine. True, there has to be coke in there too, and fent.
Virtual Dining Concepts for serving what he called disgusting, inedible, and revolting food under his name, and as a result tarnished his brand. He is seeking monetary compensation as well as the ability to end the popular chain for good.
I'll take 10. Well, I can probably only get you one because we have limited quality, but I can get you 10 over the course of a year. but you're gonna have to pay for it with Klarna. Isn't it so, dude? You know what is actually kind of dystopian? Okay, this is actually dystopian. I see this shit all the time at like the airport or whenever you buy something, like when you buy like a concert ticket online. Okay, when you buy things that should be like a one-time purchase, there's now an option for like everything to pay it over time. Like there's an option if you want to buy a concert ticket to pay it in like 7 installments with interest with Klarna. That is dystopian as fuck. That is so weird. And it makes sense for the business to do it because people are probably using it. But the idea of like paying off a concert ticket over the course of multiple weeks or months, you should only be paying off the price of a concert ticket over months if it's like thousands of dollars. The option to pay over time with Klarna with like $100 concert, like that is fucked. That is fucked. Deranged fans will do it. I don't even think it's deranged fans necessarily. It's just people who are like, oh, I'll pay it back later, you know? And like, so now you're not even just in student loan debt. You're not even just in debt with like a house, like a mortgage. You're in debt for a fucking, I swear I've seen it with like food. It's like pay over time with Klarna for like groceries. It's like, fuck, man. Aren't concert tickets hundreds? I mean, it depends on where you go or like what the concert is. Some concert tickets will be like $20 to $30, you know? Warped Tour 25 tickets offer that. How does that even work? Well, I mean, the way it works is, you know, like with any other loan, right? Like, so let's say you buy a car, right? You buy a car and the car is $25,000, which you obviously don't want to pay up front. Basically, the bank or the loan, you know, the lender upfronts the money to the dealership for it, and then you pay the lender over time. Like that's how it works. And then they collect money because you pay more over time. You know, there's interest in the loan, right? Or like with a mortgage. But in this case, it's with a fucking concert ticket. It's insane. I thought Warped Tour was canceled forever. I think they announced it while I was When We Were Young. I started seeing signs for it. I don't know what the lineup is though. Have they announced it? New Warped Tour lineup? I think, is there actually an announcement for the lineup? It looks like there's a lot of fake stuff. Warped Tour to return 2025, not till December. Oh, okay. Well, I swear it got canceled in 2019. Yeah, it did. They brought it back though because it got canceled in 2019 because that music was like, you know, losing interest in the public eye. But then When We Were Young came back. Well, also there was like Warped Tour controversies too, so there was that. It probably wasn't financially viable, but I mean, when did When We Were Young come back? 2022? Well, not come back, but when did that become a thing? Which is essentially the new Warped Tour, right? Just like in Vegas. I think, I mean, I assume a lot of the bands I like will be there, so I'll probably go. I think they announced there would be one in Massachusetts, so I'll probably go to that. They haven't announced the lineup? I see. Well, I would like to see them announce it. I mean, who are the classic Warped Tour bands that would probably go? What was the Warped Tour 2019 lineup? Or was it 2017? Actually, okay, what was like the 2014 lineup? I'm curious. 2013. Here we got 2013. Okay. The Offspring, Parkway Drive, Simple Plan, Millencolin, Amity Affliction, Newfound Glory, The Used, Real Big Fish, Hatebreed, Tonight Alive. Yeah, I mean, pretty much what you would expect, right? Oh, this is Australia. What about Warped Tour 2012? What was the big thing here? Let's see what we got going on here. Taking Back Sunday, All Time Low, Newfound Glory, Shirley Manifesto, Yellow Card, Pierce the Veil, 4 Years Strong, Mice and Men. Falling in Reverse. I feel like Falling in Reverse would not get invited to Warped Tour now. Probably too controversial. Yeah, I would go though. It'd probably be fun. Don't see why not. Although, to be honest, festivals in general, just standing around so much, bro. So much standing.
BBC didn't take the suit lying down, issuing a public statement shortly after. The complaint is riddled with false.
I work for Klarna in Norway. The way it works is conceptually like a credit card account that offers interest-free payment partitions for 6 weeks, as long as you keep your account in the black. Yeah, but then there's interest. Yes, I have heard of that guy, Smite. Thank you for the dono.
Statements and inaccuracies, and is a thinly veiled attempt to distract from Mr. Donaldson's and Beast Investments' breaches of the agreements between the parties, including Mr. Donaldson's recent false disparaging statements regarding the MrBeast Burger brand and VDC. A week later, VDC filed their own lawsuit against MrBeast. They accused Jimmy of violating his contract, resulting in $100 million in damages. This case is about a social media celebrity who believes his fame means his word does not matter, and the facts do not matter, and that he can renege and breach his contractual obligations without consequence. He is mistaken.
Bro, this is what I'm talking about with the election shit, okay? This is what I'm talking about. This, unironically, is the reason why Trump won, okay? This kind of shit. This kind of fucking shit. This guy saying, most educated states in America, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maryland, Connecticut, Colorado. Least educated states, West Virginia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Do y'all notice a trend? Yeah. So the people in these states feel their voices are unheard, and that the people in these states hate them and think they're retarded. And here you are doing it with 290,000 people on a social media platform liking it. Yeah, calling them retarded retarded and saying they don't deserve to be listened to because they're not educated is the reason why Trump won, you fucking idiot. Unironically. Like, these people will say that they, like, care about disenfranchised people who are uneducated and need help, but as soon as it's fucking white people in these states, they don't give a fuck and just call them retarded. Like, imagine if somebody broke down the most educated suburbs versus the most uneducated neighborhoods in America. Okay, that would be called racist as fuck. And it should be. But, like, well, obviously pointing it out isn't necessarily racist, but the point to pointing that out to a lot of people is racist. Okay? And with this, obviously, the white people who live here, or just the people who live here in general, are going to feel like you don't represent them. Fucking retard, dude. Okay, well, enjoy losing the next election. They never do their research. Okay. It's bait for an OF ad. Well, if it is, he probably if he does OnlyFans, he probably still wants Kamala to win. If I had to guess. Probably not going to happen. It's not like this kind of behavior is unique to Dems. That's true. That being said, the way that they've been doing it is undoubtedly part of the conditions that led to Trump winning. There's a reason why he won. He didn't just win out of nowhere. Okay? Trump won recently. Obviously, there are conditions that led to that. Right? Obviously. If he was on Trump OnlyFans, I would come instantly. I'm gonna come.
So with that, we'll just have to wait and see what happens next. While MrBeast's side seems obvious, MatPat raised an interesting point when discussing the feud on his channel, Food Theory. He examined the contracts of similar companies and found they were likely right legally speaking.
That's it. No quality control, no minimum standard, no consistent recipe, just did we get food items branded with your name onto some Uber Eats menus? And if VDC's contract reads anything like that one, technically by the letter of the contract, they've done their job for MrBeast.
This story seems to all come down to Jimmy signing a bad contract with a shady company to get a nationwide brand overnight. Now he's likely going to waste time, money, and effort dealing with his legal woes.
Yeah, and this is the problem with business stuff like MrBeast. If your goal is just bigger, let's just get bigger, let's just get bigger at any cost, you make serious oversights in the short term that will cost you really big in the long term, right? Like, it seems like every single part of Jimmy's businesses in retrospect are really being questioned. And the reason why is because he made a lot of sort of short-term concessions, I think, that have really cost him in the long term. Like with this, like quality control of a product in the short term. If you have less quality control and make it like cheaper or it's easier to get out, will that benefit you? Yes. But in the long term, if your product fucking sucks, or if some of them suck and that, you know, becomes representative in the public eye of that product in general, it will really affect you negatively. You know, you have to be thinking long-term with business stuff.
For a brand that will slowly...
Not that I'm a fucking genius, but I don't think it takes a genius to say this.
...die even if they win the case. Since the face of it wants no association with what he sees as a lackluster product in a COVID-darling sector. After losing interest in MrBeast Burger, Jimmy launched Feastables, his own line of...
He isn't as smart as people think. He rushed it. I mean, I think with certain things, yes, he's definitely not as smart as people think. I agree.
Candies and chocolate bars. It was marketed as a healthier alternative to traditional options, with a special recipe using just 5 organic ingredients.
I wanted to just make a better for you snack brand because I think a lot of the stuff out there is just terrible for you.
Because obviously so much obesity and disease comes from the stuff we eat. Like Hershey's, for example, there's 10 ingredients, super processed. Our Feastables bars are 5 ingredients, and just all the ingredients are way higher quality. And it's infinitely better than the other options out there.
The launch included $1 million sweepstakes and the chance to appear in an upcoming video inspired by the Willy Wonka Golden Ticket giveaway. But this has since faced scrutiny due to one of the tickets ending up in the hands of a vlogger who already had 700,000 subscribers, who would end up winning the chocolate factory.
This was just tape.
It was taped.
Okay, so I remember this from the dog pack video. Once again, I had no idea that this was even a conversation at the time. I literally had no idea that anybody was even talking about this. Do you hear about monkeys escaping from a lab in South Carolina? What? Wait, where's is he North Carolina? Okay, he grew up in North Carolina. But he must have had something to do with this, right? Come on. You can't tell me MrBeast had nothing to do with this. Whoa. You're kidding me, dude. 43 monkeys? Dude, we're fucking winning. What the fuck? This is real? Holy shit. 43 monkeys escaped from U.S. research lab. Police are on the hunt for 43 monkeys that escaped from a research facility in South Carolina after a keeper left their pen open. How did he leave their pen open, dude? That guy's getting fired. Trump done it again, dude. Goddamn. Thank God. Free them! The rhesus macaque fugitives busted out of Alpha Genesis, a company that breeds primates for medical testing and research, and are on the loose in part of the state known as Low Country. the Low Country. Authorities have urged residents to keep their doors and windows securely closed and to report any sightings immediately. The escaped monkeys are young females, weighing about 7 pounds each, according to the Yemassee Police Department. Dude, the young females escaped. They heard about the abortion ban. They heard about Roe v. Wade. They saw Trump was elected. They're like, I'm fucking out. Police said on Thursday that the company had located the skittish group and are working to entice them with food. Please do not approach these animals under any circumstances. Dude, well, I mean, realistically, these fucking apes, right? If they're in a research facility, they're being tested. They're escaping. Run. I believe in the monkeys, okay? Just run. Fucking run. If somebody finds these monkeys, you need to give them human growth hormone now. I don't know if it will kill them, but if it doesn't, it will make them into giant monkeys. It'll make them into sort of like pseudo gorillas, and they will do what's necessary. Okay, they will literally do it. Like, you're about to see a bunch of videos. Okay, if you go to South Carolina, you're about to see a lot of videos of monkeys taking up activities that you didn't think they could do. Okay, people doubt the monkeys. They say they can't do it. They say they can't drive. They say they can't vote. They say they shouldn't be able to. I completely disagree. Okay, look at that guy. He's doing it. Tell me this guy shouldn't be able to vote. He's driving. You see the lion driving? Nope. See the monkey doing it? Yes. He's got his hand up there on the top. Okay, he's chilling. You know, people do that. They put their hand on the fucking grip. Yes. He's not hitting anything. He's better than most human drivers, okay? Most women I know, which is 0, they don't drive like this. They don't drive this good. This monkey's staying in the lines.
Turn left.
He turned left. Dude, he won, okay? He fucking won. W.
No freaking way. So it is like really like total chance, obviously. Like you're one of like hundreds of thousands of names.
Talk to Jimmy, Bella. What do you got to say to
Jimmy, thank you for picking up.
Over time, these treats would start being sold in Walmart stores across America, and were a big hit with the fan base. Despite their popularity with subs to the channel, though, they were of course unable to compete with the pre-existing juggernauts of the chocolate industry. This didn't stop Jimmy from trying, though. He even filmed an ad for the Super Bowl, although it wasn't aired because the slot was too expensive.
What's the biggest thing you've ever made?
The biggest thing I've ever made? Probably these nuts.
On March 3rd, 2023, Jimmy posted a tweet lamenting the fact that the Feastables display on store shelves...
Wait, was that not aired? Did that actually not air? I thought it did.
...audience for free labor. But for the most part, his fans were happy to help. The thing that really set people over the edge, though, was a different tweet posted shortly thereafter. And while you're at it, if you want to maybe move some Hershey's bars and make sure Feastables has plenty of space, I wouldn't complain.
Dude, corporate espionage. He's destroying the competition, okay? He went guerrilla mode, or rather he encouraged his young fans to go guerrilla mode on Hershey's, okay? That's how you get it done. That's called business. That's called business, and that's the first B.
While most of his fans saw this as sarcasm, others accused him of being petty. But the biggest criticism came from those who noticed the timing.
I swear I saw it, Mandela effect. I don't think I was watching the Super Bowl because I don't give a fuck about football, but I swear it aired. Maybe just enough people have said that it aired that I just assumed that was true. I thought it did.
Of his tweet. You see, around this period, Hershey had been receiving backlash for a new ad campaign which featured a trans woman. While there weren't many people making this connection, it was enough for some to accuse him of trying to use bigotry to promote his product. They then started to use the old Taylor Lorenz hit piece to back up their point. Most people simply chose to mock this way of thinking, but it seemed as though MrBeast did not want to deal with the headache and soon deleted his tweet. But this isn't where the campaign ended. That same day, the Feastables account replied announcing the plea would become a $5,000 contest. They went so far as to ask fans to find an employee and ask them to check in the back so they could restock it themselves. This sparked even more outrage as he was asking literal children to pester low-wage workers at Walmart.
Okay, so am I going to take the side of children or poor people? I think you guys know how I feel about that, okay? I think you guys know. Low-wage workers have jobs, annoying and cringe. Are low-wage workers poor / homeless / get a home / cringe. Children watch YouTube, based. Whimsical, also based. Potential for child labor, which is even less expensive and would make me more rich based. So, I mean, I think it's clear what side we're going to take here. I mean, it's like sort of, in the racist versus file, argument, we know which one I'm going to take. In the child versus low-wage worker, you also know which one I'm going to take, okay? You can make children buy merch with parents' money. That's also true. Buy that merch, okay? That's what Jake Paul said, and he was right. So I think that I'm onto something here. So is this something Rice Gum would say? Well, I am Rice Gum.
This led to it being covered by Forbes and Business Insider, and made people question how sarcastic or off-the-cuff his initial tweets were. The year ended with worse news for the brand after MrBeast lost the trademark dispute over the flavor D's Nuts. With Feastables not taking off as much as he'd hoped.
No, he lost the trademark dispute on D's Nuts. No!
It was a stark departure from his original pitch, now having many of the same low-quality ingredients as Hershey's, but with more sugar and more calories per bar.
Which made them taste good. Which made them actually taste good, because the old ones did not taste good at all.
If all that wasn't bad enough, these weren't the only claims Jimmy seemed to go back on. When Feastables launched back in 2022, they stated they didn't use child or slave labor. They had an entire page for the slave-free claim.
Don't support this. I'm rich.
Is Feastables like ethical? Like,
yeah, we do ethical farming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Of course. That was the first thing we talked about when we got into it. I was like, I don't want to do it unless we can obviously do it proper.
This remained on the site through several updates, until being quietly removed in October of 2023. The discrepancy was noticed by a YouTuber named Honestly, who accused MrBeast of reaping the benefits of this feat while knowing full well they could eventually use child and slave labor.
To be clear, does that mean that he necessarily used slave labor, though? Like, until we see definitively that he uses slave labor, I don't know if I want to believe that, we're dealing with sort of a Jimmy, quote-unquote, 3/5 Donaldson here, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's really the case. I remember seeing that video and I was like, it's very possible, but there's no actual proof that he is using slave labor just because that certification was taken away or he removed it off his website, right? That's pretty big speculation in my opinion. That's pretty big speculation. Dude, low-wage workers, Walmart pays way above most other big box, usually double over most states' minimum wage. Well, that needs to change. They need to pay way below. If you work at Walmart, you should be making pennies on the dollar, okay? I'm a YouTuber. I work hard, okay? I'm sitting watching other YouTube videos. Like, I'm clearly working hard here, okay? I'm sitting here grinding my ass off, okay? I'm watching other people's YouTube videos. What are you doing? What are you doing? You have kids? Oh, well, maybe they should be working too, okay? Think about that. Maybe they should be working instead of you, and you should be streaming. I mean, that's clearly a good solution here, right? I'm just spitballing here, but $1 an hour, I mean, that seems like a bit much, right? $1 an hour, maybe more like 20 cents an hour. I don't know. I mean, one just seems like really like a whole dollar. You're telling me a whole dollar? Maybe like $1 a day, but a whole $1 an hour. I mean, that just seems like pretty insane. That seems pretty crazy to me. I mean, could just be me, but that's just kind of how I feel about that issue. I mean, you can agree. You can agree to disagree if you want, but obviously I'm a YouTuber, so as you guys know, YouTubers work harder than anyone else. YouTube is the hardest job in the world. Streaming is the hardest job in the world. Hassan said it. Jimmy 3/5 Donaldson is in agreement, so I think I agree. Do they take lunch leave breaks? I don't know if they deserve lunch leave. I feel like food of that caliber should be reserved for people like me. You guys can eat something different, maybe like a filet mignon, but I feel like only people on the highest rung of society, being YouTubers who are intellectuals, should be getting. I think I should be paid $10,000 an hour by the government, taken away via your tax dollars. You should also be taxed at 99% rate. Also, you should be making, I'd say in fairness, I don't want to be too critical. I don't want to be too mean here. Maybe 10 cents an hour is fair. I think that's fair. Hassan's one of the hardest workers I know. Hey, he's the hardest guy I know personally. I'm soft all the time. That's just how I feel. Maybe you disagree. If anybody in chat has, disagreements, you can let me know, but I just think that $1 is way too much per hour. I think it should be maybe 10 cents. I would even be in favor of lower, I think it makes sense, but 10 cents, I'll give you that. Okay. 10 cents. That's enough.
Since basically the beginning of his YouTube career, Jimmy has been joined by his good friend Chris Tyson. From the channel's humble beginnings to the titan of online entertainment that is today, Chris has been one of the biggest faces of the MrBeast brand for many years. In the early days, Tyson represented a very masculine southern presence in the group dynamic. That's why when fans started noticing certain physical changes that Chris had been going through, they became confused. On April 4th, 2023, a Twitter user posted a side-by-side comparison of how the entertainer looked several years ago versus the latest MrBeast video. His beard was gone, his hair had grown longer, his arms were thinner, and even the shape of his face had changed. This tweet included the caption, "Bro, WTF happened?" signifying many fans' confusion as to what was going on behind the scenes. This question was soon answered the next day when Chris replied to the post by saying, "HRT and it's only been 2 months." He went into further detail on his second account, explaining why he felt the care he was receiving was so important. Informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives. The hurdles GNC people have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming healthcare in a first-world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies. With this information now public, it's doubtful that Chris or anyone on the MrBeast team could have predicted what a massive response it would go on to receive, both positive and negative. While Jimmy, other MrBeast members, and legions of fans all threw their support behind the transitioning YouTube star,
Fent hit him hard. Baddie alert, true. I mean, hey, Fent, the thing about fentanyl is, like, a lot of people will talk about, the negative effects, and, obviously that makes sense, but, not to be a fence sitter here, but I think there could be a lot of benefits that we could, maybe talk about. I personally do Fent every morning. It made my erection stronger. It made my feet bigger. It made my skin greener. And I think those are all, things that have really benefited me in the dating market, So I feel like, realistically speaking, there are a lot of benefits people just aren't talking about. In fairness, I did get a call from Chris Tyson the other day, my good friend, talking about the benefits. And, Chris did communicate to me that there are a lot of, potential pros. And obviously I'm on board with that. I agree with that completely. And I'm very appreciative of that. I am very appreciative. I think that I'm glad that Chris has kind of come around on that issue. But at the same time, I think there needs to be better representation. MrBeast making these videos like, I gave, 20,000 kids in Africa shoes. What if it was, I gave 5,000 kids in Kensington fentanyl? Pull up the fight clip. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Take it with my chud pill in the morning. Yeah, it's just like an extra supplement to get in there, maybe.
Many expressed their objections.
I'm not saying you have to take it, but listen to Joe Rogan. He's talked about the various benefits. I'm just saying there's people talking about it.
To what he was doing. The most common talking points seemed to come from a belief that Chris had abandoned his wife and child in order to adopt this new lifestyle. While it was true that the married couple...
Did Chris ask for nudes? Oh, the thing is, Chris never has to ask for nudes because... the reason why I don't stand up during these streams is because I'm always naked underneath the table. There's this camera. There's a second camera not hooked up to this OBS. There's another computer here running an instance of OBS with a camera that's pointed at my dick and balls at all times. So Chris doesn't have to ask. Chris always has access to a live feed. So whenever we call, it's like the left side of Chris's setup. The left monitor is my dick and balls, and the right side is my face. So Chris always has access, but Chris isn't always seeing my face because obviously there's a benefit. Is Chris under the table right now? No, Chris is actually currently in North Carolina, in the Goon Cave, but I am, sort of spiritually with Chris at all times. Chris can vicariously live through this. Now I see someone in chat saying, are you okay? Yeah, I'm doing great. It's benefited me a lot. I do get paid 10 cents per hour to do that. So there's a lot of benefits. I want to see, well, to get that, you would have to be a part of the trans hegemony, which Chris is, and you are not. Therefore, I don't want to talk to you about it. This is why Tom Dark won't do the Charleston. That is obviously one concern. I can't do the Charleston on YouTube when my, penis and balls are out. Obviously, there's a conversation there. Now, I do see Bandana Bullet in chat saying, can I have access to the second cam? Now, there is a possibility you could get access. I'm going to need you to hop on HRT for about 7 years, and I'm also going to need you to put various items inside of your butt. But if that happens, it is possible. Now, Smite in chat says, why am I being censored? Well, it's because it's 1994 in this bitch.
Had separated, there was no evidence at the time the split was due to the transition. In addition, Chris flatly denied any rumors that he would stop being a presence in his son's life. Tucker...
Pull up the Flight Reacts video for Chris. We've seen that. And we've seen that a few times. If it really gets you going. If it really gets you going more than anything else, who am I to argue?
Let's do this. Goodbye, Chandler. Goodbye.
There you go, buddy.
Begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate. It's taught by people like you. And my child will only know love. I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before everything. I made this decision because I wanted to show up as my best and happiest self for him. In a way, this was for Tucker. While this statement generated more support from those who stood behind Chris, the skeptics stood firm with their belief that, even if the MrBeast member wasn't abandoning his child, he was still depriving him of a fatherly figure. As for Jimmy himself, his responses were brief, but still showed that he was in his friend's corner. As all of this was happening, a Twitter user by the name of Yoxic, who had been one of the people posting memes making fun of Chris, tweeted out a screenshot from an apparent message he had received from Tyson. In it, the MrBeast team member seemed to be threatening a defamation lawsuit due to the memes he had been spreading. This tweet quickly gained traction, with many believing it to be legitimate. The post soon caught the attention of Chris himself, who responded jokingly with a picture of Jimmy captioned, "My lawyer will be in contact with you immediately." While most were able to recognize that both parties had not been serious, there were still many people who took the story at face value and began publishing news articles about this alleged lawsuit.
Base.
Chris soon reached out to Yoxic
People who write articles are geniuses. They always get it.
Privately in an attempt to clear the air. But the Twitter user did not accept the olive branch, as his animosity toward Tyson was apparently all too real. At the very least, speculation about Chris's legal actions died down after this, even if the debate regarding Chris's transition continued to rage on. On April 13th, a YouTuber by the name of SunnyV2 uploaded a video titled "Why Chris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for MrBeast," in which he went over the details of the controversy and explained why he believed it would be a potential disaster for the MrBeast brand. However, viewers took issue with the arguments he used. For example, at one point in the video, Sunny says this.
This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the videos. MrBeast has likely cultivated a massive LGBT audience, all of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video.
Many people objected heavily to Sunny's conclusion.
Was he that wrong, though? I'm not even saying that his video aged well because of the allegations that came out against Chris, because I don't think anybody was predicting that would happen, and if they were talking out of their ass. But, like, obviously when you're, like, the biggest guy in the world who makes videos, like, in the United States, obviously a lot of people are trans positive. A lot of people aren't. Around the world, in, like, countries like India, like, trans positivity is not really a huge conversation. It's not, like, what the average person believes. MrBeast appeals to the world, not just the United States, right? The world, by and large, outside of the United States, is not the most progressive place in the world. There's a lot of places that are, you know, not really on board with the sort of pro-trans stuff, right? So, like, realistically speaking, like, from a pure business perspective, and I'm not saying that this is cool, but from a pure business perspective, like, obviously to certain people, if you're appealing to people outside of the US, they're not going to be supportive of transgenderism or just a trans person existing, right? He wasn't wrong, but it was a bad video. Was it a bad video? I honestly don't think it was. He was always right. Twitter doesn't want to see any criticism of trans people. Okay, but to be clear, you're also wrong there. It's so weird because the video wasn't critical of trans people at all. It wasn't. That has nothing to do with it. The video was talking about, will Chris transitioning have a negative effect on the viewership of the MrBeast brand? Will people see it as a negative thing? And a lot of them did. He was able to point that out with comment sections. Chinese people aren't watching MrBeast though. I mean, maybe not Chinese people, but his videos are translated into like a ton of languages, like India, Portugal. There's MrBeast Espanol. Like a lot of these different companies. Or sorry, like I think all of his videos are translated into like fucking 20 different languages. So, nah, bro, Hassan told me I ran super trans positive based. I also saw a lot of people saying that this was like invasive of Chris's privacy, but like Chris is a public figure. Everything he talked about was public knowledge. Is it really that privacy invasive? I don't think so. Like, if you want to make the argument that people shouldn't care that Chris transitioned, I would generally agree. But if you're gonna make the argument that no one cares, like they do, they just do. Trend made me attracted to Chris based. Keep doing it. Do more.
Conclusion here, saying that comparing the personal decisions of a real person to the depiction of a gay character in a fictional movie was absurd. The video quickly became the most widely discussed response to the drama, with SunnyV2 trending on Twitter for multiple days afterward, and the upload itself receiving a near 50-50 like-to-dislike ratio. Even MrBeast himself chimed in. Yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare, he's my friend, and things are fine.
I don't think the issue entirely in the public eye is that they're trans. More so it falls in the stereotype of trans people being creeps. I don't think that's why the majority of people... I don't think the majority of people who are anti-trans also think that trans people are like pedophilic. I don't think that's true. I genuinely don't think that's true. Those people do exist, undoubtedly. Especially among a lot of pundits. But I don't think the majority of people who are anti-trans think that trans people are like perverted pedophiles. I don't think that is the case, to be honest. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case. Fuck Mary Krill in Minecraft. EDP Dr. Disrespecting Chris. I'm not answering that, but thank you.
This transphobia is starting to piss me.
I know he regrets saying that. I mean, he probably doesn't regret saying that. The thing is, okay, from MrBeast's perspective, keep in mind, okay, if you're MrBeast, Chris is your longtime friend, okay, he's your longtime buddy. You have a business. He's involved in it a lot of the time, okay? And he then transitions publicly. Are you not going to, like, support your friend for that? Even if hypothetically, let's say MrBeast somewhere deep down, let's say he doesn't like the transgenderism, right? What is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to get on YouTube and be like, F Chris for transitioning? That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's your friend. You want to support your friend, right? Like, that's just what, that, like, it puts him in a very difficult position. This came out when Chris was in a video with a lolly poster from Shabase in the background, so that was the thing people were talking about, but, like, really nobody was talking about that. There was, like, a few people on YouTube talking about it. This was not the real conversation, though. That's not true at all.
If he hadn't made his position on the matter clear earlier, this response firmly established Jimmy's full support behind Chris. But just like before, while many people praised the YouTube star for standing up for his friends, many continued expressing their objections.
Did he say he's my friend? I mean, he did say that, yeah. But I think Chris at the time went by any pronouns, so I don't think it was like him trying to be like, oh, I secretly think that Chris is a guy. I don't think that's what was happening.
To what was happening. MrBeast's former collaborator, Sneeko, even called, saying that they should be trying to convince Chris to change his mind rather than supporting him.
People that are encouraging this, they think that they're doing the right thing. They're all brainwashed. Even MrBeast thinks that he's doing the right thing by supporting his friend Chris. Brainwashed. If you really cared, you would not encourage his delusion now. You would look at the long term and see that this is something that he's doing because he is brainwashed by social media.
Other commentators in that sphere also weighed in, with some agreeing that it was irresponsible of Jimmy to support Chris, while others echoed Sonny's perspective, that MrBeast had been socially backed into a corner.
MrBeast is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because if he says to Chris, listen, Chris, you're screwing up the dynamic of the show. Right? We didn't bargain for this. You want to make your personal life decisions. You want to take some time. You want to figure out what you're all about. That's fine. But you don't get to enact your personal dramas on the set of my billion-dollar show. You don't really get to do that.
On top of that, other people on Twitter voiced concern for Chris's son after he posted a photo to Snapchat of the child wearing high-heeled shoes.
But Tom, nothing ever happens. So true. Nothing ever happens. Why is Ben talking about this? Well, I mean, the thing is, like, when it comes down to, like, it being a, trans issue, obviously he's going to talk about it. It's like a culture war thing. It makes sense why he would talk about it, right? Like, it's, it is like a YouTube thing, but it's also like a political kind of issue, the conversation around it. So obviously he's going to talk about it.
They saw this as proof that Tyson was attempting to groom his offspring into his lifestyle, and that he was no longer a fit to be a father. Or, I guess, mother. But regardless of any criticism they were receiving, the MrBeast team stood by Chris and kept him as an active member of the group. Even many of MrBeast's usual detractors stood up for him in this case, as he was sticking up for a friend before business. There was speculation Tyson may have been let go from the company, but he clarified on Snapchat that he was just taking a break from the spotlight in order to spend more time with his son. This is where things petered off for a while, with the mass exodus of viewers many predicted not happening. It would of course reignite a year later, which we'll get to soon, but for the time being, Chris continued to appear in videos as the MrBeast brand kept on raking millions of subscribers in the meantime.
I guess he is the biggest creator on YouTube after all. Yeah, that's the interesting thing is like, because he's so big, there like because he's so famous, because the MrBeast brand is so famous, anything he does is going to have some kind of conversation around it. So like, for example, previously, as Gamer from Mars pointed out, previous to this shit, MrBeast knew, thank you for the dono. Previous to this stuff happening, the commies or the lefties on Twitter were shitting on him for not like taking down capitalism and for doing like quote unquote charity corn, right? But then they started defending MrBeast during the trans thing. But then like the right wing guys were like, okay, well, the criticism of capitalism is retarded. Why are you even calling out MrBeast for this? He's just a YouTube guy. But then when Chris is in the videos, they're like, oh, well, this is like pushing the shit on children, right? So like you have like because MrBeast is so big, everybody has an opinion about him at every point in time. And he does become like a political conversation, even though he's just like a silly YouTuber,
In late 2023, Tommy Innit posted a video where he and 3 other creators did an offensive lie detector test. That included Jacksepticeye, who first blew up on the platform over a decade ago. While they answered many inflammatory questions, the most controversial proved to be the one directed to the Irish gamer about MrBeast.
Do you think MrBeast ruined YouTube?
Yes.
Now, in all honesty, Jack, why? Because it
Oh, I think I shit on Jack for this take at the time. I'm pretty sure I did. We'll have to see what he says, but I think I'd probably still shit on him for it.
became more about views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun.
These remarks angered many who were quick to defend MrBeast's honor. You see, at the time, Jimmy was largely seen as a fun-having, altruistic...
Okay, it's not even about the altruism, okay? It's not even... The argument here that I would make against Jack is not even that, like, oh, MrBeast is a good guy. It's nothing to do with that. It's like YouTube's become about views and money instead of having fun. Jacksepticeye, why do you post YouTube videos? Why did you post to YouTube in the first place, okay? Why? Was it to have fun? Are all of your videos demonetized? What was the reason? You posted it to YouTube instead of posting it to your fucking friends in your group chat in high school, okay? To make money. To get views. Literally. That's the fucking point. And like, obviously, you know, there's like degrees to this shit. Like sometimes your content can be more about who you as a person are or something like that. But like realistically, like, okay, when Jacksepticeye uploads the 30th fucking Five Nights at Freddy's gameplay video, is he necessarily the most excited to do it? Or is he doing it because he knows it'll get views and make him money, right? Like this idea that like YouTube has been about the creators and just expressing yourself has never been about making money until MrBeast is so retarded. It's so dumb. It's so silly. How do you live your life knowing so much internet drama? I'd be burdened with the knowledge of game end myself. Oh, I'm so close. Don't you worry, buddy. What's 9 plus 10? It's clearly 21. At Arian Dougal, you're poor. Stop pocket watching. Okay, but it was more than that back then, nothing compared to today at all. Well, like the thing is, like you can still do YouTube and have fun. You can still do YouTube for the purpose of not making money. People do it. But obviously YouTube is less incentivized to promote you if you're not making the money because it's a fucking platform that costs money to run, you know? You can, surprisingly, like you can actually have fun doing YouTube and it can be your job and you can make money from it. I feel like his real problem, probably, which a lot of the time, the problem that people express is not the real problem that they have. The real problem, I think, with him is probably, the real problem he has is probably that MrBeast is like a more corporate kind of YouTube versus Jack is like seemingly less corporate, you know? Do you have fun? I've never had fun in my life.
A good-hearted philanthropist. They accused the legacy creator of being out of touch and jealous. The clip even caught the attention of MrBeast himself, who responded on Twitter. So I ruined YouTube because I didn't buy a mansion and sports car and instead reinvested my money into making content focused on doing good and inspiring kids to help people? If he had fun, the videos would be longer. What does that even mean, LOL? You think I'd give up every hour of my life for 14 years if I didn't have fun? This clip is insanely disrespectful in my opinion, and obviously there is so much I could say about his content, but I'll just take the punches and be the bigger man. Sigh. This passive-aggressive comment quickly eclipsed the original statement, with most taking his side even though he was clearly not being the bigger man. The two would end up messaging in private to de-escalate and resolve the feud. I think this goes to show just how different MrBeast's perception was at the time, where even mild criticism stirred major backlash.
I mean, the mild criticism was retarded, though. It was dumb. The NTDM moment, they probably had the same thought. They're probably in a group chat, chatting it up about how they feel.
This reputation slowly chipped away as more and more cracks formed in the facade. With MrBeast's controversy picking up steam, it served as inspiration for an article by Patricia Hernandez on Polygon.
Is it not Patricia? Is Patricia a name? Is Patricia a real name? I've never heard that. I thought it was Patricia. Tom, I feel nothing. Well, you're about to feel a lot when your mom comes over to my house.
Hernandez on Polygon. The writer sifted through various interviews and podcast appearances to dig past Jimmy's facade, and instead painted the startling image of a man warped by the very platform he sought to dominate. I'm just going to read a few of the excerpts here that went viral and got
Why are you calling her Patricia Ape Escape Hernandez? What is that? What the fuck are you talking about?
Reposted over and over as scandals continue to mount. In reviewing dozens of MrBeast videos from over the years, Donaldson has nearly erased himself as a person from his episodic output. If viewers don't really see him having fun, that's by design. Donaldson has outright said he sees personality as a limitation for growth, once noting in a podcast that hinging your content on who you are as a person means risking not being liked. If someone doesn't like a creator as a person, they may not give the videos a chance.
I mean, that's true. She's right, for sure. Like MrBeast's videos, if you watch the old ones, you know, he's kind of milquetoast, but there is a lot more of his personality in them. Now, there's like none. You know, it's not really about who he is as a person. He's just a figurehead for the content to happen. He's just a recognizable face that's tied to it. I mean, that's all true. She's right.
It is entertaining. She's a naturally funny person, and I couldn't do that. Or if I did, like, it wouldn't be so off the cuff.
Yeah.
But it's like she's tied down to her personality. If you don't like Emma, then you're not going to watch her videos. You know what I mean? Well, it's just because I'm all in. I'm crazy. Like people shouldn't be me. I don't have a life. I don't have work-life balance. My personality, my soul, my being is making the best videos possible.
Is he a psychopath? I don't know if he's a psychopath. Maybe. He's definitely weird. I don't know if he's a psychopath, though.
I'm miserable a lot of times. I have a mental breakdown.
I don't like that. It feels hella corporate. It feels like it should be a TV show. Well, that's the thing. Like, YouTube is TV now. You have to understand. It's not just TV, but YouTube is bigger than TV ever was now. So, like, it makes sense that there would be people that are, like, personality-less, soulless people that exist on the platform. And, like, it makes sense that would appeal to the most people. Like, that makes perfect sense. That's just how things go, you know? The platform got bigger.
Down every other week. I don't recommend it.
This has fueled theories Jimmy might actually be a psychopath, which really isn't helped by clips where he states he hated pretending to be a normal person.
You miss being able to go out and...
Dude, yeah, this shit is crazy.
Do things like a normal person.
No, I literally never did. No, I've always just worked. I can't stand that. I didn't fit in. And when I was younger, I would try to be more like normal people. I mean, it just make me depressed. Like, it would make me be like, why am I even alive? I'm bored. Like, this makes me want to kill myself. And I'll do these normal things, and I'll go out to eat and sit there and talk about nothing.
Or when Jimmy contemplated getting a Neuralink to make more money.
I thought Elon Musk gave you a Neuralink, bro.
I would love one, by the way. You'll be able to make so much money.
It doesn't scare you at all?
No,
you're like pretty much a robot at that point.
But
no?
we already are.
I feel like he's just making people less human.
Probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
These bizarre clips gained even more traction when he announced his interest in running for president.
I don't know that he's a psychopath. I'm not a psychologist, but he's definitely a weird guy. Like, he doesn't enjoy anything but YouTube. Like, okay, I get it. YouTube's really fun. I really like YouTube. I spent a lot of time on the computer. The computer is probably on average my favorite place to be, unironically, but that doesn't mean I don't like other stuff. Like, you don't like going out to eat. You don't like going to concerts. You don't like hanging out with friends. Like, that seems so insane to me. Maybe he was being hyperbolic there, but in the industry, they call it autism. But it's not just autism. Autistic people love Legos, okay? MrBeast doesn't like Legos. Bro's not a fan of societal routine and commonalities, perhaps. But, like, people who are not a fan of the societal routine and commonalities still... there are still things they like to do. Do you think MrBeast will be president one day? I don't know if he would, but I feel like a YouTuber could be for sure. It wouldn't be surprising. Thanks for the gift of membership. I feel like it makes perfect sense. YouTubers speak to more, or a YouTuber or a streamer, like some kind of, you know, personality. I mean, people think it's unrealistic, but like, fucking Trump is president and he was a TV guy before that, right? He wasn't even a politician. I think it's very likely that in the future there could be a person that's like an online personality that becomes a politician. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all.
Which may sound like a joke.
Reagan was an actor? Yeah, he was. Reagan was an actor, true.
But is a sentiment he has elaborated on several times.
You could just go from...
Didn't Reagan have some political experience before president, though? Wasn't he like governor or something? Yeah, he was the governor of California before, right? So yes, he was an actor, but he did have some political experience before that, right?
Just being a celebrity to just being president, that would be great. I think like 3 months ago, I think I could make it interesting enough where I could win.
Okay, well, how?
Like, give away all my money and just like, I know how to get people's attention. You know? I can't say too much because then I'll regret it in the future. I'm like, yeah, I'll just trick all the fucking idiots.
This hubris would all serve as a preamble for people starting to really question his good guy image, which only deteriorated further as his brand descended into a firestorm of allegations over the summer of 2024. And in a bitter twist of irony, the start of it belied Chris Tyson, with the first domino falling shortly after announcing she was no longer going by her original pronoun.
Okay, well, we've officially covered the early MrBeast controversies, okay? We've officially gone over all the stuff in the first hour of this video, the early MrBeast controversies. Now, I'm curious, what do you guys think about? I want you to disregard all of the stuff we can think about in hindsight, because obviously there's a lot of criticisms that have come of MrBeast since this point in time, okay? Obviously, and that makes sense, and they're worth talking about. I'm not saying they're not. I've talked about a lot of them before in a ton of videos. What I am saying is, at this point in time, is there anything you think is worthy of like really going after MrBeast for? And I'm not saying, I'm just talking about stuff that's happened at this point in time in the video. or this point in time in history. Okay, that's what I'm talking about here. Like, what do you guys think so far? Is there anything worthy of like really shitting on him? The scams? Well, there hasn't been a scam yet though in this point in the video. There hasn't been any. The t-shirt scams haven't been brought up yet. So I'm talking about stuff that's been talked about in this video. Yeah, I would agree, Dallas. I think up until this point, pretty much everything is weak and kind of a nothing burger. Could be looked past pretty easily, which is why it was looked past. Even the stadium show thing seems like a mistake a regular ass person can make. Well, okay. That is retarded though, because he's not just a regular ass person. He's in a position of great wealth, influence, and power and responsibility over people. So you can criticize him for that. But once again, I'm talking about stuff from the beginning of this video, okay? The mobile app, he fumbled it a bit. Maybe it wasn't a great idea. Yeah, I agree. The execution was pretty bad. That's definitely true. Going after, probably not, but I still don't like him in a way that his position and popularity feels like it's influencing kids to be materialistic. Influencing kids to be materialistic. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Does he influence kids to be materialistic? I mean, he gives away money and like big prizes. Maybe he influences them to think about money too much. I don't know, but it's not. The thing is, like, if you want to talk about people influencing kids to be materialistic, I feel like the more pressing criticism, if you have that position, will be more on like influencers who are constantly flexing all the cars they have, right? Like MrBeast, for the most part, a lot of the talk about money from his videos is giving it away to people, right? But it's not like MrBeast is flexing like, here's my new sports car, like every single, like that wasn't really happening, you know? Maybe you could call him greedy, always looking for a way to push some products on kids. I mean, I guess, but I think, I feel like that only matters if the product is bad. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, would you call like the Lego company greedy for selling toys to kids? Like, I mean, maybe, but that's just business, right? Like, you're just trying to sell a product. Funniest Chris joke gets gifted member. Okay. This channel isn't Sunday school. It doesn't need to have a positive message at the end of the day. Yeah, I agree with that. That's where Jake Paul would buy my merch. Well, with Jake Paul, he's like, you know, telling kids, buy my merch right fucking now. Get your mama's credit card. You got to buy it all type shit, you know? Brother, the product is moldy. Okay, yes, but that's okay. That is since this. I'm talking about this period of time. This period of time. I'm aware that there have been moldy lunchlies. I made a video about it. Thank you very much. Do the MrBeast smile? How do you do it? Do the MrBeast smile. I think that's it. That's pretty close, right? I feel like that's pretty close. I like my lunchly moldy, bruh. True. Same, dude. Honestly, same.